Sometime last year, on a quiet morning in upstate South Carolina, two humanoid robots clocked in for work at a BMW factory. And surprisingly, there was no press conference, no reveal videos, no engineer hovering nervously off camera. It feels like just another Tuesday. It's almost like they just walked over to the line, picked up sheets of metal, placed them onto a welding fixture, and got on with it. They did this for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, and for almost a year. By the time anyone outside BMW knew what had been happening, those two robots had quietly helped build more than 30,000 cars. And while we're all arguing about whether ChatGPT was going to take over the world, the actual physical version of that future was already on a factory floor in Greer, South Carolina, earning a paycheck. Or in Robot's case, earning a charging cable. This video is about how that happened. And to tell it properly, we have to start from a place that looked about as far from a humanoid robot as you can possibly get. A corn farm in central Illinois. Our protagonist is Brett Adcock, who, as a little boy, grew up in a town called Moweaqua, Illinois. Drive 15 minutes in any direction from his childhood home, and you'll still see corn and soybeans. His family had been working in that same land for the last 3 generations. By the time he was 16, unlike other kids his age, hanging out with friends or just simply trying to get through high school, Brett was entrepreneurial and already building his own business websites in his bedroom. One of them was an e-commerce store for outdoor electronics. From a farm in Moweaqua, his entrepreneurial skill grew once he left for University of Florida and came back the kind of guy who founds companies. And by 32, he'd sold a recruiting startup called Vettery for $100 million. By 35, he'd taken an electric flying taxi company public on the New York Stock Exchange. Then in May 2022, he did something a little odd. While the rest of the tech world was pivoting to crypto or scrambling to wedge GPT into something, anything, Adcock started a humanoid robot company. He called it Figure AI, and the launch barely registered. His pitch to early investor was basically 3 words: gave AI a body. And as pitches go, that one had a long miserable history. In the 80s, Honda gave us Asimo, 3 feet tall, white plastic, walked upstairs, kicked a soccer ball once for the cameras. Asimo never left the lab. By 2018, Honda quietly retired it. Boston Dynamics gave us Atlas, the backflipping parkour running robots you've probably seen on YouTube about 100 times. Total number of Atlas robots ever deployed in real factory doing real work, 0. Hyundai bought the entire company in 2021 for $1.1 billion, and even they couldn't figure out how to put it on an assembly line. And let's not forget about when Tesla rolled out Optimus onto a stage in 2022. It waved, almost fell over, and Elon promised it would be in a factory soon. And unsurprisingly, like Elon's other promises that fell short, at the start of 2026, in Tesla's quarterly call, says Optimus is still in research and development, not in production. So when Adcock said he was building a humanoid robot, the most reasonable response was something like, yeah, sure, see you in 15 years. Then in January 2024, Figure put out a press release announcing a partnership with BMW, the kind of corporate press release that gets a paragraph in TechCrunch and then quietly disappears under whatever Sam Altman tweeted that afternoon. I remember seeing the headline, and I assumed it was just another "we promise it's coming" story. For most of 2024 and well into 2025, Figure essentially vanished from public view. Their social channels slowed to a trickle. It seemed like many other startups who pitched a big promise, flopped, and then disappeared into the limelight. Then, in November 2025, they came back with receipts. For 11 months, 2 of their humanoid robots have been working at BMW's Spartanburg plant in South Carolina. 10-hour shifts, Monday through Friday, 1,250 hours of operating time, did loaded over 90,000 sheet metal parts, and did contributed to the production of more than 30,000 BMW X3s. 30,000 cars. The job they were doing is called sheet metal loading, a part that came out of a stamping press. A part comes out of a stamping press, sitting on a rack. Someone has to pick it up and place it onto the welding fixture, so the big industrial robots can take over and do the actual welding. It's the kind of repetitive, physically tiring task that real people do every day in real factories. The robots did it for almost a year. The cycle time was 84 seconds, loading window 37 seconds, placement accuracy 99% per shift. Tolerance 5 millimeters in under 2 seconds. This wasn't a demo, there was no audience. BMW's quality system were tracking everything in real time, and the numbers held. BMW Spartanburg isn't just any factory, it's the largest BMW plant in the world. 11,000 people work there. The plant generates around $26.5 billion of annual economic impact for the state of South Carolina. They exported nearly 225,000 cars in 2024, which made Spartanburg the leading automotive exporter in the entire United States, greater than any plant Toyota or GM or Ford runs. The plant has been operating since 1994. BMW has poured nearly $16 billion into it across 7 major expansions, the most recent one specifically to retool for electric vehicles. This is the place that took the bet. And what BMW got back wasn't a dancing robot or a viral clip. They got production data. They got a robot that arrived for work, did the job, and went to charge. So you might be thinking, what is the Figure 02? What is so special about it that made it work unlike many of its own predecessors? Well, the Figure 02 itself is 5'6" and weighs about 155 pounds. 28 degrees of freedom across the body, 16 in each hand, 6 cameras, 2 GPU in the torso supplied by NVIDIA, who is also one of Figure's investors, and the GPU alone costs around $4,000 each. The robot is powered by a model Figure calls Helix, a vision, language, action system that controls the upper body at 200 Hz, which is just a way of saying it sees a part, it understands what it's looking at, and it moves to grab it at human speed, sometimes even a bit faster. This is the same technology used in many driverless cars we see on the road today, companies like Waymo or NVIDIA's Alpha Mayo. I guess the logic is the same. If the machine can see, it can think just like we do. There's one interesting detail I found in my research, which I haven't seen anyone else cover. The Figure 02's forearm, the wrist area, was the leading hardware failure point during the BMW's pilot. Figure took that data, completely re-engineered the wrist, and rolled out their next generation robot, Figure 03, in October 2025. I mean, instead of admitting defeat like many other companies who made a robot that didn't work and the noise stopped, Figure learned from what wasn't working in their data and already built a model within a year's time. It's kind of scary to think how much better this robot will be 5 years into the future, and where else it might end up outside the car factory. But what's even more scary, and we have seen this before, is what this means about the future of American manufacturing and where it's heading. In the 1970s, upstate South Carolina was the textile country. Cotton mills, shoe factories, slow decline. By 1990s, BMW arrived, then Mercedes, then Volvo, then everyone else. The labor was cheaper than the Midwest, the land was cheaper, the taxes were lower, the unions were weaker. South Carolina is a right-to-work state. Industrial electricity costs less than 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which is something that's true in basically 0 Rust Belt states. The Rust Belt didn't really lose its jobs to Mexico. It lost them mostly to Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, and South Carolina. That's the actual 50-year story. And now, maybe the South starts losing them too. Not to a different state, and not to another country. To a robot that costs around $90,000 today, and that Bank of America is forecasting will fall between $13,000 and $17,000 by 2030. Goldman Sachs has a global humanoid market hitting $38 billion by 2035. To put that into perspective, they increased the market cap 6 times to what they just forecast a year ago. Morgan Stanley puts it at almost $5 trillion by 2050, which is the equivalent to Japan's entire GDP. Bank of America is forecasting that the annual humanoid robot shipments climb from around 90,000 units this year to over 1 million units by 2030, an 86% compound growth rate every single year. Half of those numbers will be wrong. Forecasts always are. The point is that this is the first time the analysts are taking AI robotics seriously. The thing I want to leave you with isn't really about the technology. For a decade, we've been arguing about whether AI is overhyped, whether ChatGPT was the dawn of consciousness or just a very fancy autocomplete, whether the Magnificent Seven were a bubble, whether any of these would ever produce something real. And while we were having that argument, 2 robots worked into a factory in South Carolina and quietly helped build 30,000 BMWs. This isn't how the future was supposed to arrive. There was no big reveal, no Steve Jobs moment, no flying car. The future just clocked in for the morning shift in a sheet metal bay in Greer. BMW already announced that they're rolling this out at their Leipzig plant in Germany, pilot phase, summer of this year. So whatever this is, it's not staying in just South Carolina. If you own Tesla, Nvidia, Alphabet, or Hyundai stocks, you are directly exposed to this growing industry. And the next time you buy a brand new BMW, it might surprise you how little human labor is involved with building this car compared to just 3 years ago. Drop a comment below what you think of this story. Are you worried AI is taking over what's left of human jobs in US manufacturing? Or are you excited for the future as AI will boost productivity and allowing workers to focus on more value-adding tasks rather than just repeating the same motion on the same production line? Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video, and as always, thanks for watching.